Sangraha only means collection, right? But collections are always done according to a classification. So this was a Sangraha Shlok, Rasa Bhava hi Avanaya. Let me skip some of the shlokas and come to the cardinal shloka. Bharat Muni says that Sangraho yo maya proktaha samasena dvijottamaha. I told you yesterday that throughout the academic activity in India, there were two movements. One of samas, that is making collection of things in brief, so that a summary or something brief could be told, and then of vyas, which is of expansion. So what we are doing about talking about Natya Shastra is a vyas, is an expansion. But what we cited today was the Sangraha. And then, of course, they begin by an enunciation of the 8 rasas: Shringara Hasya Karuna, Raudravir Bhayanakaha, Bibhatsat, Adbhut Shantascha, Nava Natya Rasa Smrita. Now from this particular text that I have brought today, they have chosen a different karika. This is an edition of Madhusudan Shastri from BHU, who is a believer that there were 9 rasas. And so he has put the 9 rasas in them. As a matter of fact, Bibhats Adbhut Natya Rasa Smrita. So the Natya Shastra actually, he has made changes in it. It seemed I made a mistake and didn't bring the original Abhinava Bharati text. The original Abhinava Bharati text is very peculiar. The Natya Shastra Karikas talk only of the 8 rasas. There is no Shanta Rasa. Shanta Rasa is something which is added around the period of Abhinav Gupta. So the 8 rasa then become 9 rasa. Then from 9 they become 10, somewhere 11, and so forth. You all know that there are 8 rasas. I don't have to go into them. I'll go into a different question, into an investigation as to what is rasa and how it is produced and all that. The basics you know. But let me take up this question: why is it that the number of rasa increased, or that they changed the number of rasas? Was it justified, or is it unjustified? Is it right, or is it wrong? I think when we look at the whole development of the tradition, then we should try to get a total picture of the things that were happening. Till the time of the Shaiv darshanas, which were developed in Kashmir from 7th century onwards, Lalitaditya invaded central India, and he took along with him some very eminent scholars and gave them land in Kashmir. Matrigupt and then his son Vasugupta, they were the first ones, and then you had a line of scholars at the end of which comes Abhinav Gupta. So these were the people who developed a particular philosophy called Pratibhigya. Pratibhigya means that if you really recall what you were originally, then you get free of the illusion in which you are living. So it was a sister philosophy to Advaita, which means you remember your real Swarupa. And they said the real Swarupa is Shiva. And if Shivoham, if my real Swarupa is Shiva, then it has to be Nirvikara. It has to be Shanta. So then the idea developed that the original, the primary, the real Satya Swarupa is Shanta. Now once this philosophic presumption is made, then it is introduced into the world of practical art. But as you will see, that the world of practical art is not the world of a yogi. It is not the world of a realized soul. It is not the world of even a Jiva Mukta. Not Brahmanand. Their peace is not Samvet. Their peace is not the ultimate realization. Natya Shastra is Lokanukarana. It is following what happens in Lok. You see, the whole doctrine of Lokanukriti, that Natya is an Anukriti of what is happening. In English we call it imitation. And there was also a Greek aesthetic philosophy of Aristotle which said that art is imitation, the Greek word for which is mimesis. Mimesis, as they say in English, or mimesis, as they say in Greek. Mimesis is copying or making again. Similarly, in the Natya Shastra, they say that what we perform on the stage is a anukriti of the kriti. What is the kriti? The kriti is done by Vishnu or Brahma, actually, sustained by Vishnu, this world. We see this world, we live in this world. We see things in this world, and this world is called Loka. And there are three Loka. There is the Deva Lok and the Patal Lok and the Martya Lok. So in Natya Shastra, wherever you find the word Lok, it does not mean tribal. It means Loka, the world. So when we see certain activities in Loka, activities of the people, then we recreate them in art, and that is called Anukriti. And Anukriti is not a photographic, realistic imitation or representation. It is creating again. What does the upsarga, what does the suffix anu mean? Not anu, anu. After. Following. Right? Anugraha. Graha means you take, and then anugraha is what you give. So I give you a gift, you take that, you graha, grahan, and then you bless me, anugraha, kripa. So, kriti and anukriti. Art is a recreation. It is an anukriti of the loka. Do you understand the whole concept here? So, in this anukriti, what do you follow? You follow the bhava of the kriti. You follow the bhava of the kriti or the activity. The feelings and bhava, feelings and thoughts. And what you do in this anukriti is also bhavanukirtanam. So you create, recreate, anukirtanam, that is doing it again or singing again or talking about the bhava as we have seen in loka. So it is bhavanukirtanam as well as showing certain activities, or rather showing them through recreation on the stage. This is the fundamental idea of creating through certain bhavas. Now these bhavas in the lok are not the bhavas of yogi. They are not the bhavas of a sannyasi. Because by very definition, Natya cannot be in heaven. Although the request for seeing Natya was done in heaven for the simple reason that it could not have taken birth in heaven. Therefore, a Muni from Martyalok was called, because Natya can only happen in Karma Bhumi, which is Martyalok, where there is Sukha and Dukha. So where there is Sukha and Dukha, there can be no Shanta Rasa. Shanta Rasa, Shanta, or the final Rasa is only a possibility for somebody who is not in the world but outside the world. Or even if he or she is in the world as a Siddha, he is not part of the world. Right? Hence, Bharat Muni did not bring Shanta Rasa.
So, just a small question.
Yes, somebody would now ask a question.
If Natya was supposed to be a recreation of what is happening in the world, of the loka, but most of the stories though are not from the world or from human life. It is from the gods and the demons. So if you take it at that level, then Shanta Rasa could be also accepted because it's out of this world, right? Out of the human world.
But is that true? All the stories of gods are the stories of their worldly lila. I mean, we are digressing a little from Natya Shastra, but let's do this wonderful digression because it's very important for you to understand the Indian philosophic systems. Suppose if you are to describe the supreme Brahma, you can all describe it in terms of not this, not this, not this, not this, neti, 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 neti. It is neither man nor like Shivoham, Shivoham, and then Shankaracharya goes on to describe, I am neither Vayu, I am neither Mana, I am neither this, I am neither that. So if somebody comes up on the stage and says, I am neither this, I am neither that, I am neither an actor, I am neither a woman, I am neither a man, nothing has happened to me, there is nothing, I have no story to tell you, you say, get off the stage. Get lost. Because you want to know about life. There is no art which is not an anukriti of what we are feeling and knowing, which is not bhavanukirtanam. And all these stories about, let us say, stealing the butter, or even, killing Shakata, or even killing Kansa. All these leelas are the leelas of the divine done as a human being in avatar. Unless you do the leela, unless you talk about God as incarnated, you cannot possibly talk for very long about it. Now, how many plays do you have on ancient plays? And be a little charitable here and don't get offended. How many plays do you have on Buddha? Buddha Charit. Yes, there are some. Ashwaghoshas, Buddha Charit and this and that. The story is limited. Because the crux of the story is give up this world. So the most important story is Buddha saw that the bird was hit, it fell, that the man was going to the shmashan, that there was somebody walking old, and he said, well, this will happen to me, the world is suffering, so let me give up the world. And then he did this, he did that, and he finally went and came back and gave us the enlightenment. Similarly, when you go to Jain stories, they are all taking you away from Loka. And now Christians are performing Bharatnatyam. What do you have in Christ's story? He came to free us from our sin. As the great poet Milton said, till one greater man restore us and regain the blissful seat, sing heavenly muse. So you will tell the story that Christ came, he suffered for us, he went to the cross, he rose. 2 days later, this rising up, Anastasia, resurrection, and you must have faith in him now so that you can go to God your Father. Right? This story has been told to us by 4 Gospels, more or less the same, with slight differences. Now, this is also a historical story, just as the story for Buddha, the story for Mahavir is fixed. These are all stories which lead you away from the world. Don't accuse me of being anti-Jain, anti-Buddhist or anti-Christian. Just try to understand what I am saying, that these stories are told in the style of neti neti. So you will see them for a while. You will see 5, 10, 15 versions of it. And then you will say, well, thank you. This is what happened historically. As I said, the Christian put an end to Greek theatre. Then they performed what is called morality plays or biblical plays or certain things somewhere here and there. And finally people in Europe said, yes, enough of this. Now we come to very worldly plays. So Christopher Marlowe wrote a play called Tamburlaine. And he wrote a play called Dr. Faustus. And what is the most impressive line in that play, Dr. Faustus? The most impressive line is that Dr. Faustus sees the great Sundari, Helen, and he says, is this the face that launched 1,000 ships and burned the topless towers of Ilium? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. So, from otherworldliness, you come to the kiss. And then there is a line of worldly plays and great playwrights, Shakespeare and Franz Racine. Theatre comes alive again. Theatre is not away from sansara. Theatre is in sansara. So whenever there have been movements to take theatre away, it has died. The Vaishnavas, on the other hand, had the concept of Leela. That you don't have to go out there to God, or to nirvana, or to moksha, or to kaivalya. Nirvana is the Bauddha term, kaivalya is the Jain term, moksha is the Vaishnava term. You don't have to go there, he will come here. And seeing his leela, enjoying his leela, is for us moksha. Yadi harismarane sarasam mano vilasa kala sukutuhalam madhura komala kanta padavalim shrunu jayadeva saraswati. So what have been the two greatest works which have sustained art in the bhakti period? They are works of Leela. Srimad Bhagavatam and Jayadeva Gita Govinda. Hundreds and thousands of verses have been written in all different languages of India following Jayadeva. And from the Dasham Skandha comes the massive variety of Krishna Leela, and from Ramayana, the Rama Leela. All the classical plays of the classical Bhasa poet, etc., they are from Krishna and Leela. So unless you have God coming down and becoming a human being and acting as a human being, you will not be able to say much about God. This is a fact of Indian history and history of theatrical performance, which